All right. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call to order the joint meeting this morning. Sorry, let me pull it up on my side. It's Thursday, March 14th. Public testimony will take in on all agenda items as those items occur during the meeting. Royce, can you please start with roll call and quorum?
Yes, starting off, Francis will be coming on today. He's going to be a little late. Nani Blake,
Yep, I'm here.
thank you. Dahlia is not here today. Stephen Courtney, I saw he was on. Franny Chung,
Good morning, present.
thank you. Diana Chun, Ruth Cruz,
I'm here. Good morning.
morning, thank you. Stacy Domingo,
Present, thank you.
thank you. Eddie, are you here today?
I'm here.
Thank you. Robert Fujitake,
Good morning. I'm here.
thank you. Liz is on. I saw her. Vern Hara,
Here.
thank you. Alex Hacker. G-Suk is not here today. Wayne Hirasa,
Here.
thank you. John Holland. David Jones. Stella, are you here today?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks, Royce.
Thank you. Kalani will not be here today. Matthew Kurihara. Matt, you here today? Not here. Todd Omura,
Royce here.
thank you. Glenn Kobashigawa,
Here. Thank you.
thank you. Sean is not here today. Kuratani. Kurt Lager,
Good morning. I'm here.
thank you. Patrick Letty. Kimberly Lee. I saw Alan is here. Shelby Lewis. Rebecca Lieberman.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Reed is here. I saw him. David Miyazaki. Lauren Okamura is not here today. Greg Okamoto. Wait, Greg's gonna come on late. Frank Pace. Gary Pulford.
Morning here.
Thank you. Ariel Ramos.
Here, good morning.
Good morning. Darren Rose is here. I saw him. Dave Lynn is here. Tony Ramirez is here. Natasha Reese. Jeff Reeve. Norman Scorch. I saw Calvin. Calvin Sung is here. Corey is here. Lavina is not here. Valerie Taylor. Kennison, are you here?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Royce.
Thank you. Kazuo Todd. Keola is not here today. Tony Velasco.
I'm here, Royce. Thanks.
Thank you. Ruth Zappel.
I'm here, good morning.
Morning. Miranda and Barbara Wynn. Andrew Reese. And Julie Hempes. And then I know that Kevin Sugimoto is here and Aaron Yee from DIT. Is there anyone's name that I didn't call?
Yeah, this is Buck Giles with Ocean Safety, Captain of Communications.
Oh, got it. Thanks, Buck.
Thanks, Royce.
Hello, this is Ryan Hirai with Hawaii Emergency Management Agency.
Thank you. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, Corey. So yeah, like I said earlier, technical committee, no quorum, but there's no updates. Communications committee, no quorum. Davey's just gonna be doing her 911 goes to Washington update, and finance committee has quorum.
Excellent. Thank you, Royce. All right, moving on to agenda item 4, review and approval of February's meeting minutes. Please take a moment to review the joint committee meeting minutes from February, and then I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Can I get a second?
Yes, second from Stephen Courtney.
Thank you, Stephen. All those in favor of approving the February meeting minutes, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Moving on to agenda item 5, committee updates by committee chairs. Communications committee, Devlin.
Good morning, everyone. We had a very great trip to Washington, D.C. We went to every office. The Honolulu people did see Ed Case. The outside islands did not go because he prefers to see his district personnel. So that was done very well. But coming from me means nothing. What it should come is from the people who attended the conference. And if it's all right, I'd like to have everybody chime in on that. Reed, sir, can you give us your input?
Yeah, it was my first time going. I thought it was really valuable. First, I thought that them giving us the agenda and different points to make with our elected officials, I think was important. And I think that for the most part, I wasn't there when they went to see Ed Case, but I think that our point was put across well, and I think that all of our elected officials, all of our congressional and delegation, they are all friendly to what we want to get accomplished. I think they're using the spectrum auctions to fund next generation 911. I think they're all for that. I mean, we're basically in a position where, we have to give them a funding source, and we did that. And then as far as recognition of police communications officers or fire dispatchers or fire communication officers, to get them their recognition as emergency responders, I think was good. Some people needed to be educated on why that's important, and the reason it's important is one, correct recognition of the job that they do, and then hopefully in the future compensation, wages and benefits, then moving into different bargaining units. But overall, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really informative. I think Davey is unbelievable with what she brings to the table. When we go up there, we couldn't have gotten anywhere without her coordination and her relationships that she has with the various congressional with our congressional delegation. It would be very difficult for first timers to go up there and to know how to navigate DC and do it without her. Would be very, very difficult. But overall, I thought it was great. I look forward to going again, and getting the getting the funding that we need and getting the lobbying that we need to get done.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Rob?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this trip. I feel like the group that we had, although we didn't have a big group, I believe it was 10, right, Davey, that we had up there, was a great group that went up. Each person who represented each of the PSAPs or departments was just great, and we did well. I feel like the things that we wanted to address, the bills, the HR 6319, I believe in a 6415, just to increase the mental health counseling services for first responders. And again, like Deputy Chief Mahuna had mentioned, the reclassification for our staff as protected service occupation. We got tremendous support from all offices that we spoke to, and it was just really, really good. I feel like we made good headway with speaking with them, and as we were speaking with them in the meetings, they were talking about meeting with other people. I remember with Jill Takuda, she was talking about, hey, let's get with Brian's office, telling her staff, and let's jump right on this. And there was no hesitation. It wasn't like, hey, we'll get to this later. They were really supportive, and again, I just echo what Deputy Chief Mahuna said. I feel like the trip was very productive, and everybody did excellent representing our state.
Thank you, Rob. Glenn?
Morning, everyone. This was my first time going to, and without Davelin there, it would have been very difficult to have such a great program and agenda. And we were prepared going into each meeting with each Hawaii delegate. And personally, I thought the one with Representative Tokuda went very well. I wasn't able to participate with the representative with Senator Hirono, but because we were in Ed Case's meeting. But other than that, I thought as far as the delegates were concerned, they were a slam dunk on the getting the telecommunicators recognized as first responders. That should be completed already. But I was honored to be with such great people, from the state of Hawaii, the PSAPs. They all shared and provided good data, good information. I was just happy to tag along and chime in wherever I could and stuff, and have a greater appreciation now for the men and women that do support, public safety and stuff. So I appreciate you folks taking me along. Thanks.
Thank you. You were very important because you came up with the answers for Senator Schatz's office. Everybody turned and looked at you like, okay, Glenn, your turn. Hey, did Matt join yet? No? Okay, Aaron. Aaron, can you say something, sir?
Hi, everybody. This is Aaron from City and County DIT. This was also my first time going up. And not only was this my first time going up, but I'm relatively new to this job and this position. So seeing these people for the first time, meeting you all for the first time, learning your names, hearing your stories, it was really moving for me as someone who doesn't do the job that you do, but is here to support the job that you do. And so I think this was a very good trip. It was very educational for me to hear your stories, to see the challenges that you guys are facing, to get the justification of why we're doing what we're doing and why we're putting this time, this effort, and this money into what we're doing. And so thank you to you all, and especially to you, Davi. Just to echo what everyone else said, without your support and the constant contact we've had, not just during the trip, but leading up to the trip, I would have just been completely lost. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. And, we approached it as a team effort. A lot of the and no disrespect to our legislators. A lot of them were concerned about what happened on Maui, and we were grateful for that. But I made sure that they understood that this was a team effort of us coming as a state to ask for their support for us, and that went really well for all of us. Great team, awesome team. Out of the 10, 6 were newcomers. So, new to them everything, and it was amazing. But they chimed in when they had to, and they came up with answers, or, they shared. They were part of a team effort. Sometimes we take people and they don't say anything. But each of our people had something to say, and that was very important to me and to the people that we met with. That was really good. And we are grateful for the board's support in allowing us to participate in this. And that's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Great update from everybody. Really appreciate that. And Davelyn, thank you for taking good care of everybody on that trip. And I'm really glad to see that we're spreading it out and sending 6 new people. That's great. And that everybody participated. Thank you guys for that. Great work.
Thank you.
Technical committee will be skipping because no updates today. Moving on to the finance committee. Eddie?
Hey, Corey. Just a question. Was Rebecca going to go over some of the legislative updates?
I was about to text Royce when that was going to happen in the meeting.
Oh yeah, we can do that now. Sorry, Corey. We're still gonna do that advisory.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Let's back up. So we'll go to the technical committee. Rebecca.
Yep. Thanks, Corey. So we have a bill still, HB 2339. Royce has been doing an exceptional job helping us shepherd this through. So the Senate version of the bill, which had that bad amendment, that bill died in crossover, so we don't have to worry about that amendment anymore. The fee is the consideration that the fee would be amended is no longer really on the table. But the House version of our bill still needs to get heard by the same committee that made those amendments. But we've met with our legislative hui, Royce. Tony and I have met with the chair of the committee, Senator McKelvey, who represents Lahaina, and he's really concerned that the board is sitting on a lot of money and not spending it. And I think the previous goal of the board was really to save as much money as possible, but now he's very concerned that we're sitting on a lot of money and it needs to be spent, and we're trying to explain to him all the important things we're going to spend our money on. And it's unfortunate that he thinks that this is, reducing the fee on mobile connections is the tax break the people of Hawaii need. But I think we did a good job convincing him that we will spend the money. Next Gen's going to be really expensive to implement. So we came up with a compromise that he's going to pass our bill through, hopefully, if he keeps his word, removing the word enhanced from the statute. And then in the compromise is that the board will conduct a study about, how should the fee be adjusted and should it be reduced? So that was the testimony we submitted. Hopefully there were at least a handful of other entities that are present on this call that also submitted testimony in support of our bill. The hearing is today at 3 p.m. And the House version of the bill, I should have started at the beginning, was double referred, so there will be 2 more hearings, the one today and one additional one, before we move into the next stage of the legislative process, which is conference. Royce or Tony, did either of you have anything else to add? No.
Tony, you gonna go first?
I don't really have anything. I thought it was very nice to have Rebecca there that was able to navigate us through this whole process. So I thought that was very good. That was very educational in itself. I thought Senator, everything that Rebecca said about the Senator Mulcahy was spot on. I don't think he understands that the 911 is actually a fee for service, for 911 service, and that it's actually supposed to help fund both sides of the 911 call. not only the customer or the communication service providers, but also supposed to help fund the systems in the PSAPs. So, but I think he learned that this is an all-encompassing fee. So it sounded positive when we left, I thought. So I think Rebecca was able to convey the compromise, and Royce kind of put it in the testimony. So I think we're in good hands. That's my immediate
And
thoughts, right?
another piece of getting him to agree to this compromise was also agreeing that we will raise the ceiling, the spending ceiling for the board, because he was perplexed by the amount of money sitting in our fund. And we explained, well, we're statutorily capped on the amount of funding we're allowed to spend. So we're going to request that the spending ceiling also be increased permanently.
We also talked about the potential for need for new CAD systems if the new NG911 system, when it migrates into the IP environment, that some of the PSAPs that have the older CAD systems might need to also forklift and replace. So he was aware of that, and that's one of the reasons he wanted to see an increase in the ceilings. So I hope nobody gets sticker shock when they see the raise in the ceiling for next fiscal year and the year after. So. But it was to appease the senator.
And then, yeah, can I add something, Tony? So yeah, I will submit the request to Ledge probably around November, December before it starts to increase the ceiling. So this is for fiscal year 2026. So once we complete the budget, we kind of update our numbers a little bit more, then I can kind of feel out, how high we want to make it. I think it'll be a good thing too with a lot of the other larger contracts from some of the other PSAPs that are coming to a close. We can definitely try and encumber the entire contract for many of those. And yeah, that's about it. And thanks, Rebecca.
No.
I would be totally lost without Rebecca, so appreciate Rebecca's guidance.
It's a team effort, and Royce prepared some really exceptional summaries. Royce also met with Senator Moriwaki, who's the vice chair of the Ways and Means Committee. So the second committee we have to speak with after the meeting today is Ways and Means. And she asked to shrink our entire 25-page budget into one page, and Royce did a great job trying to make it really simple and really easy to understand. So if any of the board members are curious to see that, we really shortened it up. So good way for summaries. But yeah, thanks all. And does anyone else have any questions? No.
Good job.
Not yet. It's too soon. We have to get through today first. We don't know if he'll stick to his word, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it all goes well. Great. Thank you.
Sorry, my meeting froze. Can you guys hear me? Okay,
yes, sir.
We're back. Awesome. Okay, well, great job, folks. Thank you so much, Rebecca, Tony, Royce. Great job on the documentation. Royce, really appreciate that. Okay, now moving on to the Finance Committee. Eddie.
Thanks, Corey. Good morning, everyone. This is the 911 Board cash flow statement for the month ending February 29, 2024. As far as receipts for the month of February, we had $1,016,961. Our interest income went up. It's $113,894. Our total receipts for February is $1,130,856. Total disbursements were $500,578, giving us a net receipts for February of $630,277. Sorry. Our cash flow analysis, our net encumbrances or pay downs, we paid out $31,949. our net cash inflow was 598,329. Our bank balances was 37,221,708, giving us a net bank balance of $40,970,066. Our outstanding encumbrances are $9,059,572, giving us a unencumbered cash balance of $31,918,493. Moving on to item 2, Royce, is DIT gonna cover this?
Yeah, DIT was going to cover that.
Yeah, Ed, I'll have Kevin Sugimoto from my team to
Okay,
to
thank you.
okay, Kevin.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good, Kevin.
So, are you gonna introduce it, Royce, or just go into what this?
You can just go ahead and explain it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so DIT is requesting payment, well, a reimbursement from E911 fund in the amount of, sorry, 53,000. Shucks, I have it on my other screen. Sorry. How much? $53,003.20. So this was back in 2020 when the JTMC move of all the PSAPs was made. This is a bill for special construction, which was specifically to install fiber and copper cables from Britannia to Hotel, by way of Hotel Street to the JTMC. So I sent in the reimbursement request to Courtney back then in 2020. And what happened was, because Courtney in the past has been really slow on reimbursing or sending us the check for the money, the city and county fiscal department fronted the bill, was in the habit of fronting the money. And then we get the check from Courtney later on, and then we reimburse the fund that we got it from. So apparently, I don't know why, but fiscal just told me that, hey, you guys owe 53,000. Did you get the money from E911 yet? And I'd totally forgotten about that process. Usually happens transparently. The check usually comes in, Courtney brings it in, and then we send it, our secretary send it down to fiscal. But apparently that never happened. So going back to my records, I did see that I sent in the request. It was all signed. Courtney acknowledged, and I guess he never did cut the check. So right now, fiscal is trying to demanding that we pay back the 53,000, either from our budget or get the money back from E911. So that's where we're at. That's why we're requesting the 53,000.
And then this is Royce. So sorry, Corey. Just wanted to add something too. So in the previous meeting, I know that we said that we were not going to touch the reserve. So the money that DIT is requesting is going to come from unused funds. So I confirmed that with I believe HPD, Honolulu Fire, and Hawaii PD on some extra funds that they had left over from some of their conference that they already attended this year that they submitted reimbursement for. And as well as Fire, they had the reimbursement for their CAD that they over budgeted for. So this is where the 53,000 that DIT is requesting that's going to come from. It's not from the reserve.
Royce, this is Ed. This is Eddie. I had a couple questions. So this was in the 2020 budget?
Yes. So last year when we were reconciling the encumbrances, I gave a list to all of the people from DIT and all other agencies and stuff like that. So they said that the money was no longer needed, so I did away with those encumbrances. It was actually there.
Yeah.
At the end of last
that's my
year.
fault.
Yeah,
That's my
so
fault.
it
I
was
assumed this was all taken care of. So I said, we don't need the extra money. And then lo and
Oh,
behold,
okay.
I
I just was
got told by fiscal.
okay. I just was wondering if it was a line item on DIT's budget in
it was
2020.
it was and it was encumbered. The money was there, but when we were reconciling and I talked to DIT, they said it was no longer needed. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but then this situation came up when fiscal was asking for the money.
Okay, understand. The finance committee needs to vote, or does the board need to approve it?
Just for finance to move it for board approval.
Okay. So with that, I need
Eddie, I
oh,
see a couple of hands up. Stephen, did you have a question?
Yes. I guess I was wondering, because I know after Courtney left, we did a review of, I guess, a lot of his documentation. So was this something that was missed then?
It wasn't necessarily missed. The money was there for that GTMC relocation. It's just when I confirmed with DIT, they said it was no longer needed. But that was they were under the impression that everything was paid for, and only now the city has come to ask for reimbursement.
Okay. Okay, understood.
And Tony, did you have a question?
Just one, sir. Obviously, is this something that's already come before the board and was voted on? Was it approved by the board back in 2020? Are there meeting minutes that indicate that there was an approval for the 53K?
Tony, I think it was previously stated in the budget. It was budgeted for. The money was encumbered. It was just that I took away that encumbrance because of DIT verified that it wasn't needed, but only now the city is coming or requesting the
Right,
money.
Tony. I would say that it was
got it.
implicitly approved because it was part of the budget. We
Right.
don't approve every single budget line item in a
Right.
meeting with a vote, but it's in the budget. So the reason I wanted to put it on the agenda and explicitly approve it here is because it's 4 years old. It was on our encumbrances. We removed it. Now we're putting it back on. I just want to be really transparent. And obviously, based on all these questions, it's not something we should have just glossed over. So I just wanted to make sure there was full transparency on it.
And that's why I was asking if this had been previously been approved, because if it was approved and now you're just putting it back on the agenda because it was taken off, that's the clarification that needs to be brought forward.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
I think
thanks.
like legally, we might not have to actually put it on here. I just wanted to put some sunshine on it and make sure everybody understood what happened. So.
Cool. Perfect. Good. Any more discussion? If there's no one else, I need a motion from the finance committee to pay the $53,003.20 owed to DIT from the 2020 budget for the JTMC special construction.
This Reed, I move.
Thank you, Reed. Do you have a second?
Hi, this is Todd, a second.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you for the discussion, everybody. The motion is approved.
Eddie, do you need to take a vote?
Eddie, I think you need to vote.
Oh,
you have your motions, but just
sorry.
No worries. I do the same thing all the time.
Thanks for the reminder. Is anyone opposed to the motion? No opposition. Stella, can I just approve that?
Oh, wait. This is Tony.
Hey, Tony.
I abstain.
Oh, okay. One abstention from Tony from DIT.
And I guess
All those.
I guess I assume this is Stephen Courtney. I assume I have to abstain as well.
Okay, Royce, do we have a quorum for the vote if we have 2 abstentions?
Eddie, I think you do because it's yourself, Reed, and Todd.
Okay, with the 2 abstentions, all in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? No opposition. The motion carries. Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Eddie, and thanks for your questions, folks. Okay, next agenda item, public PSAP status updates on recruitment and personnel issues, starting with Kauai Police Department.
Yeah, this is Darren Rose. I'll be taking this for Ariel. Our current situation over here is not good. We're currently down to 10 dispatchers that's about a 50% vacancy. We have 1 dispatcher that's already indicating they will be leaving at the end of the year, basically because of the low pay and the cost of childcare. Currently, to cover a 24-hour operational period, it's requiring our dispatchers to work overtime. We basically can't cover a 24-hour period. Our dispatchers are averaging 5 to 6 days off a month. Basically, they're getting overworked. Burnout it's a reality. We're supplementing some of the shifts with officers. We're in discussion with HGA. AMR has offered to allow us to train some of their people, and put them in dispatch. But that's a discussion we have ongoing with HGA to see if they will allow that. Currently, we have 0 applicants. And I can't remember the last time we had an applicant for dispatch. It's been quite some time. Our lead senior person at dispatch was hired in 2020. So that shows us we haven't retained somebody in over 4 years. So recruitment, what we've been trying to do is look at our social media, see if we can get more involved with that. We're looking at our website and ways to improve it. But basically what I see, and from talking to our dispatchers, the biggest issue is pay. It's a high stress job, as we all know, with shift work and terrible pay. That's what it all boils down to. So I don't know why anybody wants to sign up for this job for $23 an hour. We had a recent meeting with our local HGA representatives last week about this issue of pay. Discussions, is it feasible and even possible to move them to a different bargaining unit within HGA that would give them more pay? And basically the response we get, there is no other bargaining units within HGA that they fit into. They only provide 2 options. One of them is to create an entire new bargaining unit, which I think we're all aware of. That's failed twice in state legislators, and it's not even up this year. So even if that was going to occur, it's not going to happen anytime soon. The second option they're giving us is for our Kauai HR department to reprice them. But that's another roadblock, because if they reprice them and give them this increase, that impacts the other counties. So they don't want to do that. So basically, I don't know what the answers are. I think there's a lot of people a lot smarter in this group than me. And I'm just throwing this out there because I think this is not a unique situation for Kauai. I think Maui's in the same shape, if I'm not mistaken. The other islands or other counties are right behind us. It's very realistic by December of this year. I don't know how we're going to be able to give, right now. Our dispatchers, current ones, are awesome. They're doing everything they can to make sure, the services and everything, nothing's impacted. I just don't know how long they can continue doing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, what our situation is. And if anybody has any ideas or anything, we're open to anything at this point. And that's all I have.
Darren, thanks for the update. Could I ask a question? You said if the county HR department repriced them, the issue is that impacts other counties. Could you elaborate on that? I don't understand that.
I don't know a whole lot about this, so I'm really naive when it comes to this HR stuff. Just what I got from our local HGA people is it's a repricing. But if they reprice in which basically increases their SR rating within bargaining unit 3 for Kauai. The other counties end up following it. They all want to stay the same throughout the county, from my understanding. I think Maui County and Kauai, Maui might have did it first and changed them to emergency service dispatchers. It got them a higher pay. But recently, Big Island followed right behind and got the pay, which our HR said it would happen because once one county does something, it impacts the other counties. So they're hesitant to do anything, from my understanding, because of that.
Okay, yeah, so it's more that they're just reluctant because the other counties will probably do it. I mean, we may need to ask them to just bite the bullet. I mean, if you can't operate, I mean, the pay is probably the single biggest knob. So I would ask that question again personally. But any other discussion or questions or feedback for Darren?
All right, this is Devlin. In regards to that situation he's discussing, Maui did redo a repricing, and that was in 2011. And it impacted both us and Kauai because we do the same jobs. We do a central dispatch system where we dispatch police, fire, medics. I don't know how they can turn around and say that everybody will be impacted because it wouldn't impact the other two islands, Hawaii and Oahu, because their jobs are different from ours. So I think that's a lot of bull crap, but then that's just what I think, you know. And in regards to moving us to a different bargaining unit, I requested to be moved to bargaining unit 14. And I thought that, you know, Sheriff's Department was in that department, it would be considered public safety. So to me, that was a no-brainer. It, you know, puts us out, and I even asked them to use us as guinea pigs to see if that would work, and if it would work for the rest of the state, and if they wanted to do it, then we could all move into 14 and get out of being described as a clerk, because we're not clerks.
Right. And
I continue to get pushback on that because at last year's legislators in Honolulu, they claimed that only Maui wants to do this, and why aren't we doing it for everybody else? But nobody wants to do anything. They want to sit there and wait and still be considered clerks. So I thought I'd move our people out, get into a different bargaining unit, and we can just all together as a state realize that we need to find something better for us. And so I'm still in a stalemate with everybody about this.
Okay, that's helpful to know that this happened in 2011 and there were only 2 counties impacted, because that really did happen, and that's data that we can show them. When you talk about the bargaining unit change, who was that requested? Was that to the county HR or that was to the legislature?
Well, what happened was working with our local council people, you know, and explain to them what we wanted to do, what I wanted to do. And I told them, you know, I felt that we're not getting anywhere. So she went to Honolulu and spoke with, you know, the legislators there in Honolulu and the impact that was having on all of us, because all of us are impacted because our pay rates are almost the same. Maybe Hilo and Honolulu, each of them, Hilo and Honolulu did a repricing in their wages also and got higher pay, which is good for them. Okay, we all, everybody should get the higher pay. But the fact is that they didn't like the idea that only Maui was getting proactive on this, and they kind of slammed us about being moved into another bargaining unit. And then that's when they came out with that that report that the then Governor Ige asked them to submit about you know, getting us into a different bargaining unit and how it would impact the state. And I think Royce has a copy of that report that was submitted.
Royce, could you try to track that report down and send it to me and anybody else on the board who wants to review it, just as a refresher?
Yeah, I can send it out to all the board members.
Thank you, Royce. I know we've been down this road before, but let's just make sure that there's no opportunities that we're missing. It's definitely it's coming to a head, especially on Kauai. It sounds like so. Okay, thank you, folks. Moving on, HPD.
Good morning. Oh yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Okay, sorry, I was a little late to the meeting, so I missed the roll call. Similar to Kauai, we're short as well. Everybody's overworked doing mandated overtimes. We had 3 trainees. They're just about to finish. Well, 2 finished. One is unfortunately leaving in about a week. He has some family problems back on the mainland, so he needs to go. Currently, we have 3 that are in like the last stages of our hiring process, and we have a handful that are still taking the test. One of the things we're working on currently is changing our initial tests. We use the critical program, but we are testing for things that a first-time dispatcher doesn't actually do. So we're working on changing that with our HR department. As far as the pay raise, I'm not sure if everybody here is aware of it, but one of the things we do, because yes, it's really hard to change your SR rating for them, but there are ways you can compensate our dispatchers better. So one of the things we do is called a SLIP program. So back like years ago, we had a problem with sick leave. What we agreed with the union and the city was we will pay our dispatchers, right now it's $2 more an hour for every hour that they come to work. So if you're on vacation or you call in sick, you don't get that. But as long as you're at work, you get $2 more. So it kind of helps a little. We're actually currently trying to boost that up to $5 for our PCO2s, and hopefully that goes through. But that's one of the ways you can boost their raise without going through the city and actually raising their SR rating. That's it.
Well, thanks for that update, Matt. That's super helpful. So yeah, let's look into that as well. That sounds like an end around that could be really helpful. Okay, Honolulu Fire, Sean. Oh, sorry, Stephen has a question. Let me pause for a second. Stephen, go ahead.
Okay. Well, actually, just a suggestion. One of the things that we did at DIT, working with HR and BFS, is a shortage differential for particular positions that were hard to fill, and we needed a means to increase the salaries. I mean, that was one solution that we did provide, and it was in particular for a particular segment that was hard to fill positions.
And that was through the county HR department?
Yes, and again, we had to work in concert with our budget and fiscal services as well. All 3 of us had to work together, and it also entailed redoing the position descriptions. But anyway, just a suggestion.
No, we take all suggestions. That's helpful. Okay. Well, first we'll look up both the SLIP program and the shortage differential. Great. Thanks for the suggestions, folks. Honolulu Fire, Sean? Oh, wait, Sean's not here today, right?
Yeah, Sean's not here, Corey.
Okay.
I don't
Anyone from Honolulu Fire filling in? If not, moving on to Oahu EMS.
Good morning, this is Franny. We still have 4 EMD positions open. We're still working on trying to fill it. It's very difficult. Our dispatchers need to have an EMT license for 2 years. Right now we have a person from CORE. CORE ambulance is that red ambulance that helps displaced people that don't have a home. Well, he was interested in becoming a dispatcher. Right now he's training. If he does pass, then he can move over to the EMS side. And we have 1 reliever dispatcher. She's on light duty. She's a paramedic on the road. She's also doing very well. She can help us when we're short. And also this summer, our admin is trying to plan a program where it's called an EMD1. You start off as a EMD1 dispatcher in here, and you can work your way to EMT1. They go on the road and they finish whatever they need to finish to become EMT2s, which will make them eligible to come back into dispatch and be a dispatcher, an EMT dispatcher. So that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Franny. Maui PD, Davey?
Thank you, sir. I'll go ahead and it'll be for both Maui and Molokai, if that's okay with you. So right now we do have, I do have on Maui, I have 9 dispatchers and 3 supervisors. All of us, most of us, well, all of us, they work 12-hour shifts. And we've been very lucky when we get 2 days off. I mean, it's like, woo! We don't say anything, we just walk out of the door real fast. And then, but they've been coming to work, and I've been very fortunate. Molokai, we have 3 people. I do have 1 on loan that will be going out to Molokai due to personal issues at home on Molokai. She'll be working from there and supporting Maui. And in regards to the discussions that we were having earlier, what Matt was talking about, also Stephen, we do have my vacant positions are what we're doing is we're using the vacant positions and taking that pay and giving it to my people. So my people now get a retention of $750 a month. So every paycheck is $375 additional, to their regular pay, their overtime pay, whatever time they get. They have that that right now. That's and we've been very fortunate that the chief is supportive, because there's no other way we can get any. They won't give us a pay raise. So the best thing is to go into and see what we have a balance of and see if we can support them from that. And it's been helping my people. They've been coming to work. My sick leave is minimal. It's been really minimal on it, and they almost always come to work, except in emergency situations. But I don't have the people that just call in because they don't want to come into work. And it's not regardless of if you're sick or not, you still get that pay, $750 a month. So I know that's rough on a lot of counties, but it seems to be working for us. And both Maui, all of Maui counties, so Molokai and us, get the same thing. And that's all I have to say, sir. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Davey. That's very interesting. I did not know that we had that, that your chief would have that leeway, but I'm certainly no expert in this area. Stephen, did you have a comment or a question?
Yes, I'd like to comment on the vacant positions. And I don't know how it is in your county, but over here in Honolulu, our city council has been looking very closely at the vacant positions as far as pulling, if they find it, like we have the enormous amount of vacancies, they will pull that funding to use somewhere else. So just be careful about that.
And what it is our council is very supportive of us and our need for personnel. They're looking to bump it up even higher the next session, because they're trying to see how we can get more people in the room. I do have a one-stop shop coming up, and of course everything has to go through the union for their approval. So they have to sign off on the agreement for the retention. So it's not like we're doing something, that's illegal. If not, I'm going with everybody else, okay?
Yeah. No, to me, this idea makes the most sense of anything I've heard so far, because this funding is in place to make the PSAPs run with the right amount of people. And that's what this money is for. So if you have to pay fewer people more money, that's a solution, right? That's where we're at. So I think this is the best idea I've heard. So the council has to support this as well. Davey, is that basically? Oh.
The council, our administration, and then go to the union for their sign off on what we can do with our funds. Sorry.
Okay. Darren, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we followed what Maui is doing, and I think it was in September is when we started the same thing. And ours is at your date of hire, you're getting that. It's a higher retention bonus. Same thing. I think it's 9,000 for the year, so it's 750 a month. But since we started that in September, we still have 0 applicants because I don't have the math in front of me, but I think if you add that retention hiring into what they're currently getting paid, it brings it from 23 and change up to maybe 26 and change or $27, which still is not enough to entice anybody to do this job, in my opinion. So we're looking at ways right now. I mean, it's helping to retain the ones that we have, but seeing if there's a way we can increase that is what our current discussion right now we're trying to figure out.
Okay. Thanks, Darren. I'm glad to hear that you guys are getting support from your council at least. And when you are recruiting, I guess you're not advertising the retention as part of the, because it's probably not guaranteed. I mean, if you had a full staff, then you would lose the retention anyways. So, okay.
It's advertised. It's on the HR job application. It's all in there, which increases it. Yeah, it's there. It's just hasn't been enough to help so far.
Got it. Okay. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Hawaii Police Department.
For Hawaii Police Department, we currently have 14 vacancies, which puts us at about 31% vacancy rate. We did do some interviews yesterday. We had 6 applicants who were scheduled, 3 showed up. Go figure, I guess it's the time we're in now. Out of that, we are referring 2 people to the chief for recommendation. We do have continuous recruitment going on our county website. We also have announcements made on social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram for openings. And just to touch on what everybody else has been mentioning, our department did start, just looking at this memo now, May 1st, 2023, rate differential for our staff from PCO 1s all the way up to our supervisory staff, dispatchers, differential rate of $4.61 per hour more for each hour worked. That has been, a real big boost for our staff. They really appreciate it. Not too sure with the people coming on board now, because they never experienced, having, been paid less. But much like with Maui and HPD Oahu, they, following kind of the same suit. So it has helped a little.
And that's the differential that Stephen talked about, like the shortage differential.
For us, it's just a rate differential for if and this is if they show up to work now. If they call in sick, or anything like that, then they don't get it. Their pay goes back to their, whatever their rate is at where they're at, right? Based on their seniority. But if they do show up to work, it is for each person, it is that $4.61 per hour more.
Got it. And just asking a dumb question, we have some of these rate differentials, some of these options. What are options just to make those numbers larger? Is that just a negotiation essentially with your counties?
To me, I really don't know as far as with the amount. I know that both our chief and the fire chief worked with our, accounts division on that, worked together with it. And luckily our chief was a big advocate to get our staff, that increase in pay. And, that again, that really helped out for us on our side with our veterans.
Got it. Yeah. So changing the bargaining unit and it is very hard. But it sounds like we have some leeway. So yeah, I'm mostly curious and interested to know, can we just ask for more from the counties? It sounds like we have some leeway there. If we're explaining the problem, can we go to them and ask, let's make that $4.61, $8, anyways, good discussion, folks. Finally, Hawaii Fire Department.
Hi, good morning. Right now we have 6 vetted dispatchers. We have 3 of our trainees that have been on 11 months So the beginning of April, they'll be graduating to become senior dispatchers as well. So we'll have a total of 9, which puts us at about 30%. We have 5 people starting on Monday. We're hoping that we have all 5 come to the first day of work. One of the things that we have done with our county for hiring is that we have a hiring bonus. So after 6 months, these new hires will receive $1,000. And then if they stay for 12 months, they'll receive an additional $2,000. So they'll get an additional $3,000 if they see it through for the 12 months. But I mean, we're just like everybody else, we're struggling with the retention, we're struggling with the overtime, with the overworkness and the burnout. I mean, all of those things, like everyone else has already spoken to, it's real. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay, moving on. Any more items for discussion, consideration, and action? Hearing none. Announcements, future virtual meeting dates and times. Thursday, April 11th, we'll have our combined meeting from 9 to 12. Future conference dates, 3 months advance approval required. NENA conference, June 28th to July 3rd. Kissimmee, Florida, and then APCO, August 4th to 7th, Orlando. Any additional announcements from meeting attendees? Hearing none. Open forum, any public comment on issues not on the board meeting agenda? If not, looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Just
This
read
is Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Can I get a second?
Just read, I'll second it.
Thank you, Reed. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back at 8 minutes after the hour. Thanks, folks.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hey, Davey. We're just in between meetings. That was a quick 5 minutes, but hope everybody got their breaks in. Royce, can you share the board meeting agenda, please?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you, Royce. Just a reminder, board meeting attendees board members should have their cameras on. Okay, let's call to order the State of Hawaii Enhanced 911 Board meeting for Thursday, March 14th, 2024. Public testimony will be taken on all agenda items as those items occur during the meeting. Royce, can you please give us a roll call and establish quorum?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna unshare this real quick so I can see my side.
Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
Alrighty. Let's see. Francis, you still here?
From EMS, I'm still here.
Oh, that's Frank. Steven, Courtney is here. Nani had to drop off. Ruth Cruz. Stacy Domingo.
Present.
Thank you. Edward Fujioka.
I'm here.
Thank you. Robert Fujitake.
Here.
Thank you. Liz, are you still here? Liz, Greg.
I see her on the list. Liz, are you there?
I'll come back to her.
Yeah,
Vern
she's
Har.
muted.
Wayne Hirasa.
Here.
Thank you. Francis is back. Stella is still here. Todd is also still here. Glenn Kobashigawa.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Kurt Lager. Kurt, you still here?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Alon is still here. Alon, are you still here?
Yes.
Thank you. Rebecca is here. Reed is here. Gary Poolford. Ariel Ramos.
Still here, thank you.
You. Darren, are you still here? Darren Rose.
He had to leave to go to the mayor's county address.
Oh, no problem. Thanks, Ariel. Dave Lynn is still here. Liz is still here. Tony, are you back yet? Tony Ramirez? Not here. Calvin Sung is still here. Corey is here. Kennison, are you still here? Not here. Tony Velasco.
I'm here, Royce. Thanks.
Thank you. Ruth Sapel.
I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we still have Kevin Sugimoto and Aaron. You guys both still here? Buck Giles, are you still here?
Hi, Royce. Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ryan Hire. Sorry if I said that wrong.
Here, same thing. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we have quorum for the board, Corey.
Excellent. Thank you, Royce. If you folks could all pull up the February meeting minutes from the board meeting. I'll be looking for an approval. Take a minute to review. Let us know if you find any issues. And then I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
This is Rebecca. I'll make the motion to approve the February meeting minutes.
Thank you, Rebecca. Do we have a second?
This is Francis. I second.
Thank you, Francis. All those in favor of approving the February meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, committee updates by committee chairs. Communications Committee, any more updates, Davey?
Yes, sir. Since we have Matt that joined the meeting a little bit late, Matt, can you share us your thoughts on what happened in 911 Goes to Washington, please?
Sorry, put a bunch of food in my mouth.
Sorry.
I should have known you were going to call on me. No, it's really good. I think we had a really good team up there. As far as like, I know y'all's want to point out like stuff we learned. Most of it was just how to talk to your politicians. Unfortunately, Team Honolulu, we got stuck with Ed Case, but I think we did a pretty good job together. He's a little confrontational, but I think we answered all his questions pretty well. So thank you, everybody, from the Honolulu team. I think only Aaron's on here. That's about it.
Thank you, Matthew. And another thing that when we were at Jill Takuta's office, they were throwing back a lot of ideas between her and her aide about how she could support us, 911 in Hawaii. And she mentioned doing a minute speech in the House of Representatives, in the Congress. And she did one. She did one just the other day supporting 911 for Hawaii. And this was about 5 days ago. I just received notification from her office about it. If you go on her website and see it, she's very passionate speaker. And she's very passionate about supporting Hawaii. And, every island has their issues. And she wants to help everyone. And it was amazing. She was just amazing when we spoke to her. So she did do that for us. And the only other thing I want to tell you is we did our Viper upgrade and Kihei, and that has launched. We do have a couple of issues, but that has a lot of the issues is internally to my people that need to step up and address some of the things that wasn't like our Annie Alley is not dropping, and our recorder is not recording. And it's because of the change of position and the IP addresses on the monitors. But, we knew when we started this project that we would be the guinea pig for everybody else. And, I still have 2 more PSAPs. So hopefully we all learn from this and we mark it down. But other than that, it's going as well as can be expected. No fear for everybody else. Okay, we can do this.
Hi, this is Ruth Cruz. Thank you for that. I'm taking notes. Are you being well supported in the efforts to resolve those?
Yes, ma'am. We are.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. I know technical committee doesn't have any updates. Did you have anything further from the advisory committee, Rebecca? Okay, great. Moving on, Finance Committee, Eddie.
Nothing additional.
Thank you, sir. All right. Agenda item 4, PSAP updates. Kauai Police Department, any updates?
Nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. HPD,
Nothing further, thank you.
Honolulu Fire, and oh, Sean's not here, right? Hello. Oahu EMS,
Nothing to add at this time, thank you.
thank you, Franny. Maui PD and Molokai,
Nothing more to add. Thank you.
thank you, Davey. Hawaii Police Department
Nothing further, thank you.
and Hawaii Fire.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Royce, could you take it away with the executive director's report, please?
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Starting off, the contract for the new auditor. I just put it on High Pro beginning of this month. I'm gonna leave it active till the end of April. So hopefully we get some offers by then. I know that a lot of the other firms are supposed to be finishing up their audits for the state around March, April, so I decided to put it up a little early. So hopefully we can get that contract started, hopefully effective. I put May 6th. Next up. Oh, sorry, did anyone have any questions about the contract for the new auditor? Okay,
No, sir. Thank you. Go on.
moving on. This is something that came up recently. Got a couple of emails. I know this has been brought up in a few other states. Apparently some car companies, I don't know if it's hit the US yet, but mainly in Europe, they have this new like e-call SOS feature, where if you get in an accident or a collision, you can push that button inside the car. It's built into the car, and it says that it will connect you to a PSAP operator. It actually says PSAP in the manual and in the instructions. So I shared this with Corey, and then Corey kind of dug into it, and he kind of found out that it actually doesn't directly connect to the PSAP. It actually connects through the person's phone, and it attaches it to the car. Just questions came up because they weren't sure who's supposed to remit the charges, whether it be the car manufacturer or the service provider that's providing the connection. But in our case, I don't think we'd be able to collect from them because technically it would be a prepaid service, because it's purchased when you buy the car and they're not charging you for that service, for that e-call service. So I guess it's just something to be on the lookout for maybe in the future. And that's all I have on that. Is there any questions on that topic? Okay, moving on.
Hey, Royce and Corey, this is Francis. Sorry. On that topic, I don't know if at Nina or if we can, when you think about IoT devices in the home that access the customer's Wi-Fi that may have those same abilities to dial 911 from the home, how Nina's looking at that in terms of, recovery, right? It's not necessarily another person, but it's just another device that can call 911. And the other thing is that we as the provider have to look at and make sure that we don't get flooded with all those IoT devices that could dial 911, dialing 911 and flooding the network in terms of calls. So something to think about.
Yeah, good call out, Francis. I know with a lot of our IoT devices, they'll be restricted to certain APNs. So like for the tsunami sirens or the HECO meters, things like that talk to, they don't have an emergency APN in their SIM card, so they don't have that capability. I think it's risky in general, like with the Wi-Fi calling, we've seen there was some reluctance by some of the manufacturers to adopt that due to the risk that if you start doing this, you're going to be, on the hook for making sure this location gets to the PSAP correctly. So I'm not super worried about that because I think it's safer to not put 911 capability in, your fridge and your heater and all that kind of stuff. So I think generally it hasn't been happening yet, but we should definitely keep a watch out for that because it's definitely happening with the cars. So
yeah,
cool. Thanks, guys. Any other questions on the e-call? Thanks, Royce.
Okay, next up, establishment of a Department of Ocean Safety. So Eddie, did you want to cover this one?
Yeah, sure. I can brief everyone. So currently, ocean safety is under the HESD umbrella. So at the City Council, City and County of Honolulu, there's a resol to establish a Department of Ocean Safety, which means there will be a standalone department. So I think the question is, I've never been aware of adding a new agency to the E911 board. So according to the language, if it's approved, they don't know which way they're going to go. The mayor can do it by executive order, which goes to the city council for 3 hearings and approval, or it'll go on the November ballot for a charter amendment. If either one passes, effective January 1st, 2025, that department is established. So I think the question is, what is the methodology on establishing and recognizing them as a secondary piece for Hawaiian Telcom? Is there a license requirement or an application that has to be submitted to Hawaiian Telcom for the Viper system? So I had a discussion with Chief Okamura, and I had advised him to draft 2 budgets, one with the existing format that he has, and one to call Chief Logger and have a separate budget for ocean safety if the resolution goes through. So I think it's important to address it correctly, because if ocean safety is their own department, in the future, we don't know if there's another agency on the outer island like Maui Ocean Safety or Kauai, if they may do the same thing. So it's something for the board to digest, and there's people on the board who have been around longer than I have that know the history of these types of things. So I'm just wondering what the board will do if they become their own department.
Thanks, Eddie. Royce, did you want to cover some of the concerns that you found in the actual language of the tariff?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
I think we were just concerned about unintended consequences.
Yeah, I guess my concern was if they were to create a Department of Ocean Safety, would they be considered a secondary PSAP? And if they were considered a secondary PSAP, I don't think they would meet the requirements because they don't operate 24/7. So I just was wondering if that would negatively impact them if they won't be able to receive funding from the board, because currently they're under EMS. And let me pull up the.
And I should know this, Royce, but do we identify the line items for ocean safety within EMS, or are they just generically absorbed, or is it mixed?
I believe their Viper is on their own, but I believe in training and some other things, it's EMS/ocean safety.
So the calls would still be screened, Eddie, through the normal process on Oahu. PD would screen it and then route to the EMS, right? Locations, stations.
I mean,
The call handling would be very similar, right, to what it is today.
Francis, if it helps out, I was kind of around when that happened. So what happened was, because of the tariff, EMS basically redesignated ocean safety as an answering point, not a PSAP, because they didn't meet the 24-hour requirement of operating a PSAP 24 hours a day. So they were considered an answering point, and that's how they were able to get the Viper down at ocean safety. And then what we did was we handled all of the GIS, we all of the database functions for ocean safety were handled through EMS and the fire department as a PSAP. So that's how they were able to get, the Viper down there, if it helps out. The big thing, and even when they brought up making ocean safety, putting a Viper down there, it was provided that way because they wanted to put a CAD system down there, and they wanted the answering point to be able to deliver the calls directly for the ocean safety, because they're actually performing first aid. The lifeguards are actually performing first aid on the spot there, and that's why they wanted to do it that way. But they weren't performing it 24/7. Does that help?
Yeah, I don't think the arrangement would change. At right now, I don't think the arrangement would change. I'd have to go back if because now they're considered their own entity, right? And would they be, I guess, considered as another PSAP, separate from fire or separate from EMS?
So
that's correct.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check on that.
Yeah. And again, the designation between a primary and a secondary PSAP, a primary PSAP receives their calls directly from the telephone company through the selective router. A secondary PSAP receives their calls from the primary PSAP. So the distinction needs to be made. Where is that call being sent from? Is it being sent from EMS, the fire department? Are they still going to be designated as an answering point? And if they're going to be designated as a secondary PSAP, off of which, I guess they would have to be off of the HPD. They'd have to reroute the traffic that way. So that would be definitely the Hawaiian Telecom call.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, so it sounds like we might not have any implication here, right? Like there may be no impact from this change. We could just, they can remain as an answer point only and still receive funding from the board, right? I mean, as long as nothing in this statute references them as a PSAP, just because they're their own agency, could they remain an answering point since they're not open 24/7? That they can't become a secondary PSAP because of that, right? So.
But if they're not, I think from a funding perspective, to request funding from the board for, say, additional stations just for EMS, can they do that on their own as their own department? Because
right, because they're not a PSAP.
They're not a PSAP. Yeah.
Our board funds PSAPs, right?
Right.
I see. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's the funding that becomes a problem. So you could technically leave them as an answer point, but when they send a reimbursement, then we have a problem. I see. Kurt, and does the problem that we have here make sense?
Hey guys, this is Kurt. Yeah, I'm listening in. I know you guys are the expert on this. I'm trying to learn. I don't know what would prohibit us from being a PSAP. I kind of read through the tariff, and I apologize for my misunderstanding, but as the charter amendment makes us the primary responder for all ocean rescues up to 1 mile out. So as being a primary responder, I guess I don't know what would keep us from being a secondary PSAP other than I didn't see the wording of 24/7 other than for the primary, and then the primary would pass the call to the specialized agency for that particular need, whether it be fire, medical, law enforcement, and in our case, ocean safety, right? So I'm listening, and I know nothing's been decided as far as us becoming our own department. We're kind of along for the ride and seeing what happens. But yeah, no questions right now. I'm just kind of listening.
Okay, and I don't know the answer to. It sounds like the crux is: does a secondary PSAP also have to be a 24/7 operation? I think that's the crux, and you're saying it's not clear to you from the tariff. Royce, do you think the tariff's clear on that? I'm reading it right now, but I can't find the exact verbiage.
I'm not too sure about the tariff, but I know on NENA and 911.gov, they have some information on it. That's where I kind of saw the whole operating 24/7, 7 days a week thing for secondary PSAPs.
Got it. And Tony, you wouldn't know that off the top of your head if that's like a.
It's not. In fact, during the discussions when it was done before, one of the deciding factors was that fire and EMS were operating 24/7. So that's kind of why they did it that way. And that's why they decided to do as an answering point off of the EMS secondary PSAP. But, another thing that we're not talking about it, and let's just, I want to play devil's advocate. Let's say they removed the E911 technology portion and we become an NG911 site. Does this terminology still apply? Again, that's a question that maybe we're going to have to wrestle with in the future, because under next generation, the precept is basically a call from any device from any location, when they need help. So that kind of supports Mr. Logger's position. So it becomes something that the board will have to wrestle with on whether it's going to fund it or not. It throw more mud into the water, but it's really the reality of moving from one technology to another.
So to caveat on to Tony's statement, I guess for DIT, the question that I have is, would you need to provide new servers or petition current servers for ocean safety data? I don't know, so that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, this is David Courtney. Yes, that's a good question. And also wanted to add that there is a committee that was established in regards to making a recommendation to the mayor of Honolulu in regards to this prospective department as well. And I guess I'm hoping that they also have some input from this board on that, because the things I'm hearing kind of would help add to that decision-making process.
Oh, you're talking about that task force?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I believe there's supposed to be, I guess, number of former ocean safety people that are part of it as well. But I'm not sure if I heard anything about the E911 having any input to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chief, this is Tony again. From an operational perspective, because, you have the lifeguards with their jet skis out there, and a lot of times they do handoffs between the jet skis and fires, boats that are out there. So, again, it's something to investigate whether or not they should be an answering point, maybe to fire versus EMS. There's a lot of things that need to be discussed, and maybe the right place to have those operational discussions is that task force. So just offering that.
Good. That's a good point. So I
it
guess
sounds like oh, go ahead, Eddie.
no, you can go ahead, Corey.
So I was going to say, it sounds like the critical piece is, if they break off, we wouldn't be able to just continue to reimburse them if they don't change to a PSAP, right? That seems to be the crux of the issue from the board's perspective, because the board currently pays for ocean safety stuff. And if they go through with this and they don't change from an answering point to a PSAP, we don't have a legal way to reimburse them. So I'm not hearing a clear answer on the 24/7 secondary PSAP. So that seems like that could be a good option, a good route. I think this task force would be a great team to research and consider some of these details, because if there's going to be costs associated, from Autel, from DIT to make this happen with the actual networking and configuration changes, that should be one of the task force, pro and cons, I would think. So I think we need to basically get them some of this information. I'm not sure what the right formal way to do that is. I don't know if Stella has any feedback about how we as a board could interact with that task force, just to make sure that we don't cause any unintended consequences for ocean safety.
Corey,
Hey,
I'm
Corey.
taking a look at the definition of PSAP in chapter 138, and it just says public safety answering point means the public safety agency that receives incoming 911 calls and dispatches appropriate public safety agencies to respond to those calls. So I don't know whether they fit within that, because the board is authorized to reimburse PSAPs, but whether ocean safety will be able to fit themselves within that definition is something I don't know.
Right.
So
So it sounds
could the board waive the 24-hour requirement? Because using that definition, which was a clarification of what a PSAP was, I remember when that came out. If the PSAP waived that for funding and did identify them as an operational PSAP, would that still work? Because it does fit the definition there.
Right, and that's why I don't know that the board needs to do something like David, because it's not part of the definition legally.
Right. I was going to say, I don't think we'd need any action. We just need to ensure that ocean safety needs to know that if they do break off, there's implications that they'll either stop receiving funding from this board, or they'll need to convert themselves into a PSAP. And that's good that it's not in the definition. So the 24-hour thing doesn't seem like it's an issue legally. That's good. But they should I think the task force should know that that's going to be an extra step, extra costs, etc., to maintain their relationship with the board as a source of funding.
Corey, this is Kurt again. with respect to that task force, I know I can't speak much for it. I was a member of the task force, and none of this discussion came up during the course of that, nor was I really aware of any of this until just a few days ago. And the task force presented our recommendations to the mayor last week, Friday. But I think it's a very important discussion, and I know my chief definitely wants us to be involved, or in this process. So we're listening intently, and whatever the best way forward is, depending on what happens with us with regards to becoming a department, we'll do what we got to do, I guess.
Okay. And is it clear what the rub is? So you guys probably, you get funding from all these different sources. It's complicated. You guys are doing your job,
Yeah.
right? So this is one of the places you get money. I don't know if you need anything from us to know how much money that is or anything like that. We have the budget. We could show you that kind of data probably.
I think at some point,
we want to support you, and we don't want you to get blindsided when you stop getting reimbursements from us as an unintended consequence here.
Absolutely.
So it seems like we have a viable workaround with this PSAP changing you from an answering point to a PSAP. But we just want to make sure you understand what would be involved in that. So I think DIT and HT Hotel, I don't know if we could ask you guys to maybe do some research and bring us some updates to the next meeting regarding what would be involved in making ocean safety a secondary PSAP instead of an answering point. Because EMS is already a secondary answering point of HPD, right?
Yeah, we'll do some research on the call flow, because the calls go to HPD, who then transfer to HFD or EMS or ocean safety directly based on the call. So so because today it's an ESN and it goes to the PSAP, the county PSAP, right? One location. I think Tony brings up a good point. As we go to NG 911, there are capabilities that would allow us maybe to route directly based on if that call person is calling from a boat, right, 1 mile offshore, we might know exactly where they are, and maybe just if the PSAPs want it that way, we'd directly route the call to the EMS folks. But that's in the future. But and that's all just technical call routing, changes to the platform. So yeah, we can go back and take a look and look at that on our tariff, and then in terms of how we would do that. Today they're what we call a CSP site. They're not a tariff site, but how does EMS get their fund? They go through. Ocean Safety goes through the EMS request. Is that right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
So thanks for that, Francis. And I would like to approach this because January 2025 is right around the corner, and next gen is somewhere around the corner.
Yep.
I'd like to approach it serially and let's assume we're not going to next gen, and that's not the implication here. What would we do if we had to solve this right now? What would be the implications, technical implications, costs to the board and or ocean safety? And then Stephen, if you could do any research between now and next board meeting and to give ocean safety more info and the board more info just to understand the implications of this change. Would you be able to help with that?
Okay. Yes, I could look into it with my team.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That's super helpful. Okay. So I don't think we've figured anything out here completely, but it's really good discussion. So if I would propose that we put this on next month agenda as well, and just continue the discussion. If everyone's okay with that. Any other comments or questions?
Corey, the only other comment I have is, since the strategic budget for this fiscal year was approved, whether or not ocean safety separates, can we still reimburse them? I think we should, since the budget was already approved.
Great question. Legally, I don't know how that works. We may have to send the money to Ocean Safety. I don't know if Ocean Safety can cut the check back to, or sorry, legally we might have to send the money to EMS. I don't know the answer to that question. Great call out though, Eddie, because the budget's already approved for the time frame that we're talking about, you know, January of next year. So that
Corey, and very seriously, I mean, just again, just throwing it out there, we kind of approved the DIT budget, right? DIT is not a PSAP, so it would kind of follow under the same rules, wouldn't it?
I guess that, yeah, so DIT supports the PSAPs, but they're not
Correct.
a PSAP.
Correct.
That's great point. And we pay them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just
we do
I'm just
get
throwing that,
reimbursed.
just another consideration. I'm only putting it out there as another
Yeah, no,
consideration.
that's a really great call out. And so I guess that's, yeah, what if Ocean Safety supports the PSAPs, DIT supports the PSAPs, maybe there's no legal issue with continuing to reimburse them directly. Now my question is for Stella, I guess. Do you understand what the crux of this, Stella, at all?
Sorry, yes. I do understand, and I'm not really clear about DIT's seeking the reimbursements. I mean, somewhere, you know, because the statute only talks about PSAPs, but somewhere along the line, the board must have made a decision that's reflected somewhere in some kind of document that recognizes that DIT is involved with the ability of the PSAPs, at least for the island of Oahu. So I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I'll talk with Royce about what other documents there are historically.
Because that would be much simpler if we, as a board, could just, you know, by ourselves say that Ocean Safety is still part of our family here. Okay, that would be a much simpler situation, and we wouldn't have to figure out any of these details. They could remain an answering point, and we wouldn't have to overcomplicate everything. So that sounds like a great option. Royce, can you try to work with Stella to look through our historical documents to see if we can figure out when DIT hit the budget, and then maybe look at those meetings leading up to that? Hopefully we have all that historical data, but that could be tricky.
Yeah, I can look into it. Pretty sure we do. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, Ocean Safety's not gonna have any repercussions if they do move, right? Yeah.
So I think this was a great discussion, Royce, and if it's all for, you know, if it's all smoke and there's no fire here, great. That's perfect. But it's better to ask the questions now than in January. So I appreciate you calling this out. I appreciate Ocean Safety coming on the call here. So any more discussion on this before we move on?
Well, for Royce, look around the time that EMS put in the microwave circuit to their EMS facility over there off the freeway, you know, in the warehouse area. That was about the time when the board actually approved DIT receiving funding to support the PSAPs. And I believe that happened around 2008, 2009 timeframe.
Okay, I can look at it. I have I actually just finished downloading all of the QuickBooks data off of the old book. So I have financial records from back to like 2004.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be around the time the microwave circuit went in to
So
support
2000.
the EMS. Yeah.
Okay, I can look at it around there.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I would say see if there's some sort of MOU, memorandum of understanding, possibly, that was created back then.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Royce, in advance. Any other questions or comments? Okay, more to come on that. Anything further, Royce?
Nope, all good. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, moving on. Items for discussion, consideration, action. DIT requesting $53,003.20 for JTMC special construction. Any further questions or discussion on this item? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
Well, again, for Stephen Courtney, I'd have to abstain.
Thank you, Stephen.
This is Rebecca. I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Rebecca. Can we get a second?
It's Reed. I second it.
Thank you, Reed. All those in favor of requesting $53,003.20 for JTMC special construction for DIT, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Any additional items proposed from the meeting attendees? Hearing none, moving to announcements, future meeting dates and times. Combined meeting Thursday, April 11th, 9 a.m. Future conference dates, 3 months advance notice of advance approval required. NENA, June 28th to July 3rd in Kissimmee, Florida, and APCO August 4th to the 7th in Orlando, Florida. Open forum, public comment on issues not on the board meeting agenda.
Got a small announcement, Corey, if you don't mind. This is Tony.
Yes.
Just the PSAPs know this, but for everybody else on the board, VSC went through an acquisition, and VSC was sold a portion of itself through divestiture to a company called V2X. So we went from Akimeka LLC to VSC, and now we are known as V2X. So that's just an announcement. I'll be wearing a different polo t-shirt next time you guys see me with a different logo on it. So okay, that was it, son.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate the update. Okay, open forum, public comment on issues not on board meeting agenda. Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
It's Reed. I make the motion.
Thank you, Reed. Can I get a second?
This is Rebecca. I'll second.
Thank you, Rebecca. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks, for your participation. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
See you, folks.